Long before DC Comics created the Green Lantern, long before the intergalactic police force patrolled the stars, the power of the green light was born right here on Earth. In the heart of ancient Africa, a war was fought not with guns, but with willpower and fear. This is the untold story of Zawadi, the mute girl who became the first wielder of the Emerald Fire. In the beginning, the village of Uzima was not just a village. It was a fortress of life. It sat at the foot of the great mountain, protected by the Tree of Souls. This tree did not just grow fruit. It grew green fire, a spiritual energy that kept the darkness away. But where there is light, there must be a shadow. Deep inside the mountain lived an ancient evil known as the Ekutu. In the old tongue, it meant the swallower. It was a demon made of pure fear and yellow smoke. The Ekutu did not want to kill the people of Uzima. It wanted to hollow them out. It wanted to eat their memories, their bravery, and their souls, leaving them as empty shells walking the earth. For centuries, the green fire of the tree kept the Ekutu trapped in the mountain. But the demon knew that the strongest walls are not broken from the outside. They are broken from the inside. But before the ring, there was just a girl who the world threw away, a girl without a voice, who had to scream with her soul. This is the story of how an outcast became a god. The story begins 30 years before the darkness fell. In the village of Uzima, a child was born during a violent storm. Usually, when a baby enters the world, the first thing they do is cry. It is the sign of life. But Zawadi did not cry. She arrived in total silence. Her eyes were wide open, staring not at her mother, but at the wooden beams of the roof, as if she was listening to something no one else could hear. The village elders were disturbed. "A child with no voice has no spirit," they whispered. Her parents, fierce lovers of the land, tried to protect her. But when Zawadi was just 5 years old, tragedy struck. It was the season of the Great Fog. A strange, yellow mist rolled down from the sleeping mountain, the first sign of the Ekutu waking up. Her father and mother went out to secure the harvest, leaving Zawadi in the hut. They never returned. The villagers found their bodies at the edge of the forest, pale and drained of color, their faces frozen in terror. But strangely, the yellow mist had stopped exactly where little Zawadi was standing. She was alive, sitting in the dirt, holding a green leaf, completely silent. The villagers didn't see a survivor. They saw a curse. They whispered that the silent girl had brought the death mist. Zawadi was taken in by the village collective, but she was never of them. Imagine growing up where no one speaks to you. Other children would throw stones at her to see if she would scream. She never did. She would just stare at them with those deep, unsettling eyes until they ran away in shame. During the Festival of Drums, when the whole village danced and sang to feed the tree, Zawadi was forced to sit outside the circle. They believed her silence would offend the spirits. But Zawadi wasn't lonely. She had friends the others couldn't see. She found that if she pressed her hands into the mud, she could feel the earth breathing. If she sat by the river, the water would ripple towards her even when there was no wind. She wasn't just mute, she was a receiver. She was storing up energy year after year, building a reservoir of willpower that no one noticed.
While Zawadi was the village ghost, Kofi was its star. Kofi was everything a man should be. Tall, muscular, and the finest archer Uzima had ever seen. He could shoot a fly off a leopard's ear from 100 paces. The village adored him. Kofi the King, they called him. But Kofi was addicted to the praise. He didn't hunt to feed the village, he hunted to hear them clap. Zawadi saw this. One day, she passed him cleaning his spear. She looked at him, really looked at him, and Kofi felt a chill. He felt that she could see the insecurity behind his smile. He hated her for it. "Get away, ghost girl," he spat. "Go talk to the bugs?" As the years passed, the Ekutu in the mountain grew hungrier. The protection of the first tree began to waver. It started small. Crops began to turn gray. The river water tasted bitter. Kofi led hunting parties into the forest to find the source of the rot. but he always came back empty-handed. This terrified him. If he couldn't fix it, the village would stop loving him. This was the moment the Ekutu found its way in. During a hunt, Kofi failed to kill a simple bush rat. He missed. He panicked. A golden hero doesn't miss. That's when he found the black stone. Even though Kofi was the village's greatest hunter, he was strong, fast, and proud. But deep down, Kofi had a secret weakness. He was terrified. He feared being forgotten. He feared being weak. He feared death. The Ekutu smelled this fear like a shark smells blood. One day, while hunting in the forbidden dark woods, Kofi heard a voice. It wasn't a voice of a man, but a whisper inside his head. "Why do you serve the tree?" the voice hissed. "The tree gives its light to everyone, even the weak, even the sick. Take the power for yourself, Kofi. Become a god." Kofi found a black stone pulsing with a sickly yellow light. It was a piece of the Ekutu's soul. The demon promised him that if he placed this stone at the roots of the Tree of Souls, the green fire would become his alone. Blinded by greed and fear, Kofi betrayed his people. Under the cover of darkness, he poisoned the tree. The reaction was instant and terrifying. The green fire of the tree didn't just fade, it died. The leaves turned gray. The protective barrier around the village shattered. That night, the horror began. The Ekutu poured out of the mountain like a yellow storm. It didn't attack with claws, it attacked with nightmares. People woke up screaming. Mothers looked at their children and could not remember their names. Warriors dropped their spears, shaking on the ground, paralyzed by visions of their worst fears. The village of Uzima fell into chaos. Kofi stood in the center of the village, expecting to become a king. Instead, the Ekutu laughed at him. The demon didn't give Kofi power, it turned him into a slave. Kofi's eyes turned entirely black, and he became the first soldier of fear. But there was one person the Ekutu could not break. Zawadi.
Zawadi felt the shift the moment Kofi touched the stone. She was in the fields, and she fell to her knees, clutching her chest. She felt a cold shadow pierce the village's heart. She ran to the elders. She tried to mime, to sign, to show them that Kofi was bringing danger. But they laughed. "The mute girl is having a fit," they said. "Go away, cursed one. Kofi is our protector." Being ignored when you know the truth is the ultimate test of will. Zawadi didn't cry. She stood up, wiped the dirt from her knees, and waited. She knew the time for listening was over. They ignored her, but because she could not speak to people, she had learned to listen to the earth. While the rest of the village went mad with fear, Zawadi felt a pull. The dying tree was calling to her. She ran to the withered trunk. Her grandmother, the elder Mama Abeo, was there, weeping. "It is over, child," Mama Abeo cried. "The fear has won." Zawadi did not accept that. She possessed something Kofi lacked: unbreakable will. She placed her hand on the dying tree. She didn't use words. She used her mind. She poured every ounce of her courage, her pain, and her hope into the wood. She told the tree, "I will be your voice." The tree answered. It realized that the physical wood was too weak to hold the power. It needed a living vessel. Suddenly, a spark of emerald lightning exploded from the roots. It didn't burn Zawadi. It merged with her. Her skin began to glow with a blinding green aura. Her eyes turned into pools of green fire. She was no longer a mute girl. She was a living battery of cosmic energy. The Ekutu, now a giant cloud of yellow smoke and shadow, loomed over the village. It prepared to swallow the souls of everyone left alive. But then, a beam of green light pierced the darkness. Zawadi floated into the air. She didn't need weapons. She raised her fist, and the green light obeyed her will. She imagined a shield, and a massive wall of green energy covered the innocent people. She imagined a hammer, and a giant construct of hard light smashed the Ekutu's shadow soldiers. Kofi, possessed by the demon, charged at her with a spear of yellow energy. He screamed, "I am the king! Zawadi looked at him with sadness. She didn't speak with her mouth. Her voice boomed inside everyone's head. "You are not a king, Kofi. You are just a man afraid of the dark." She pointed her glowing finger at him. She didn't kill him. She ripped the fear out of him. The black stone shattered. Kofi fell to the ground, weeping, the corruption leaving his body. Now it was just Zawadi and the Ekutu. The demon roared, trying to crush her mind with terror. It showed her visions of death, of loneliness, of silence. But Zawadi's will was stronger than fear. She clapped her hands together. The green fire around her expanded into a supernova. It was a light so pure that the shadows didn't just run, they evaporated. With one final blast of energy, she banished the Ekutu back into the earth, sealing the mountain with a cage of green light that would last for 1,000 years. When the light faded, Zawadi did not fall. She remained glowing, a permanent guardian. She gave the villagers their memories back. She restored the color to the land. Kofi, unable to live with his shame, took his own life, a warning to those who let fear control them. Zawadi spent the rest of her days as the protector of the land. It is said that when she finally died, her spirit did not go to the afterlife. Instead, it shot up into the stars, becoming a green star that watches over the universe. So, when you see the Green Lantern in movies, reciting the oath about brightest day and blackest night, remember Zawadi. Remember the African girl who proved that willpower is the strongest weapon in the universe. The real Green Lantern was never a man in a pilot suit. It was a woman who found her voice in the silence.